scenarios where there is no such urgency, I can send the video to the backend server for processing, because there I don't need a real-time update. Okay, so this is one of the use case of where I'm using some kind of edge intelligence to process the video immediately as I'm detecting an event and giving it the information to the police vehicle, to the lawmakers who require it, right? Fine. So this is one of the use cases. So there are many more use cases. There's one more thing, the distributed caching. Okay. So just now I was talking about this this watching of live surveillance videos, right? So now suppose there is a popular video, or maybe there is a film that is launched and one of the song is very famous, right? For example, recently this film Pushpa was released, right? And this Pushpa songs were very famous. Everybody was watching these songs on the train, on the bus, in the car, right? So now suppose you are quite inquisitive and you want to hear okay, let me hear. Everybody is hearing, let me hear the song, right? What's the song? What's so famous about it, right? So you switch on your YouTube and you start watching the video. Now suppose there's a fellow person again who's watching the same thing. Okay? So as I was saying, so the person who is watching the video, so now this is not a live video. This is what kind of video? This is a video on demand, right? So it is called VOD, video on demand, or other way around you also say on demand video. So this is not a live surveillance video. So the person who is watching the video, if we have these capabilities to cache the video, right? So you know that YouTube, it doesn't allow you to cache the video, right? At least temporarily it allows, but then it doesn't allow you to cache the video on a mobile. But suppose there is an application which allows you to cache the video on your phone, and suppose by it happens that you also want to see the same video, instead of downloading it from the server, you can watch it from the person who is sitting next to you. Right? So that is possible. Right? So this is called distributed caching, right? So let's say there are millions and millions of videos every day that is uploaded to YouTube server, right? But not all of them are very popular. Some of them are very, very popular, right? And they follow certain distribution. It's called the ZIPS distribution, right? So the terminology is ZIPS distribution, ZIPFS, ZIPS distribution, right? So basically it's a power law distribution, right? So some of the videos which are highly popular, instead of, so not only we cache it, not only we save it in the server, but we can also cache it in some of the devices, nearby devices, such that whenever a certain person wants to view the video, he or she can immediately download it from some nearby device. Right? So this is called distributed caching. Right? So for the sake of time, I'm skipping these things. So I'll directly go to some concepts of video services. So when I say video service, so these are the things which are included. For example, it can be real-time video streaming, right? Live video analytics, right? Real-time gaming, right? Which is another popular service, right? So two or more people who may be connected to the internet, they are playing video at the same time. That's some kind of dual kind of thing. And then real-time content distribution. For example, crowdsourcing, right? So what is crowdsourcing? So let's say you have gone to a concert, right, to watch maybe some live concert, some famous person singing or some famous person dancing, something. And suddenly something happens, right? For example, in Kumbh Mela, we saw that there is a stampede that happened, right? So now let's say there is, whenever, so it takes some time to disseminate information, right? Now you see, hundreds of lives could have been saved if the people who were at least back of the queue would have known that there is a stampede going on in front of the line, right? So suppose some event has happened some kind of, it may be terrorist attack, it may be a sudden fire in the concert, or stampede. And let's say if some person records that video and immediately disseminates it, spreads it, right? So such kind of application is supposed to is called the crowdsourcing, right? So crowdsourcing. So the name itself, that means crowd here means that number of people, they are recording the video and they are immediately disseminating it, right? Through different networks. It can be an ad hoc network, it can be through cellular network, it can be device to device network, it can be P2P network, it can be any network, right? So these are the different type of things which we can do. Now, what is the use of edge intelligence in crowdsourcing? Now, we have recorded the video, right? But how do we know that what is actually happening in that video, right? So suppose a stampede is happening, maybe 100 people in front of you. And let's say you immediately receive a video. So you will not open your phone, see the video, and then analyze it, and then, then find out that the stampede is happening in front, right? It will take some time. So what is the other way? Suppose there is an edge device, it may be a base station, right? So the base station immediately analyzes the video, immediately detects that some stampede or something is happening, and immediately sends an SMS or a notification alert that please don't go ahead, a stampede is happening in front, please go back, right? So this kind of services where we can use edge intelligence to detect some kind of mishaps and then alert the user and prevent accidents to happen. The same, this can be done in numerous. For example, there is a road blockage ahead, right? So instead of falling into the road blockage, immediately you can, Google Map or whatever other services can immediately alert that please don't go ahead, there is a road blockage, please take this other path. Right? So there are numerous apps that are available nowadays. Right? So these are all the applications of edge intelligence. So there are different. Now I'll briefly go to video services. So there can be intelligent caching, intelligent bitrate adaptation, intelligent offloading. Right? So now before going into video services, I will quickly hint upon, just very give you a very brief idea about what are video codecs. Right? So all of you have heard of video codecs, right? Nowadays there are different kind of video. So what is a video codec? It's basically a encoding technique to minimize the size of the video without compensating on the quality of the video, right? So there are different kinds of encoding techniques. Previously we had 8.264 ABC, SVC, right? SVC stands for Scalable Video Codecs, and then 8.265, and then AV1, VP9, right? All these are there are, at least 20-30 popular video codecs which you can find online, right? So out of them, SVC and 8.265 are one of the most popular video codecs, which are simple, but at the same time, very, very efficient, right? Efficient in what term? That means, for example, 8.265, I'll directly come to 8.265. So here you can see the graph that it is able to reduce the bit rate by 25 to 35% compared to H.264. So what is the meaning? So it means that the video which you are watching, let's say the video which you are watching is, let's say, 5 Mbps in H.264. You can watch the same quality video if at much lower bit rate, maybe 2 Mbps or 2.5 Mbps using HEVC codecs. Now, all of you watch videos on YouTube, right? So, have you ever noticed what happens to the the quality of YouTube video when there is a faulty one? What happens? The video quality falls, or maybe it adjusts. So how does it happen? So whenever, let's say you're watching a 5 Mbps, bit rate of video, right? And let's say your current network is only 3 Mbps or 4 Mbps. What will happen? So immediately YouTube application which is there on your phone, it will immediately downgrade the video. Probably you were watching in 1080p video, right, which is high definition. Now probably to adjust the network rate, it will bring down the quality of video from 1080p to 720p. Now why does it do so? So that your video is not stalled, right? So if you keep on watching the video in 8020, right, what will happen? Your video cache will get emptied and your video will start buffering, right? After watching some time, you will see the cursor is rotating, right? That means your video is getting buffered, right? But in case of HEVC, which is high efficiency, there is much less chance for video getting stalled, right? Even for high definition video. Right? So I'll skip these things. So there are a number of other codecs which are available. Next, we will come to quality of experience. Now, this quality of experience plays a very important part in determining the application performance, right? So how do you measure quality of experience? So what is quality of experience? So basically it's a viewing experience, right? Your viewing experience. The video which you are watching, how good the video is, right? Now how to measure the goodness of the video? So suppose your video is an ultra high definition video, 4K video, right? But suppose you know that it's a 4K video, but suppose the video which you are watching on a mobile phone, it is coming in only 720p, so in 720 pixels. So your video has significantly downgraded. Maybe it is scratchy, right? Or maybe it's getting stopped every now and then, right? So in such case, my quality of experience will not be very good, right? But suppose your video is, that your video is going excellent. You are able to watch the video in high definition. Your video is not getting stuck. Then your quality of experience will be good, right? So what determines your quality of experience? Number one, of course, your network quality. That is, of course, primary. But apart from that, there are several factors where if your network quality is not that good, you can take measures to improve that quality of experience, right? So I've already said two things to improve your quality of experience. One is caching, right? So suppose I will go back to the example which I was. Suppose you are watching a live cricket match, and let's say you're connected to the network. Now the network service provider has to, thousands and millions of viewers are watching the live cricket match at the same time, right? So you can imagine the tremendous pressure. So as a result, this live cricket match, the quality of live cricket match will start faltering, right? It will sometimes become good, it will sometimes go back, or maybe it will lag. It will have a lag of at least 5 to 10 seconds, right? Right, and then to cope up, it will suddenly go from ball number 1 to ball number 5. You have missed ball number 2, 3, and 4. You've already missed, or maybe a wicket has fallen on ball number 3 and you have missed it, right? Because of your network, right? So you don't want to miss those things. So now instead of getting the live surveillance video directly from the base station, why not view it from the person who is sitting next to you, right? What will be the advantage? Your quality of experience will be better, because now since the network has to cater to less number of users, it will be able to provide more bandwidth to the other users, while at the same time the people who are watching will not miss any portion of the match. Right? So this is one use how you can improve your quality of experience through caching, right? So there are innumerable such things where the edge intelligence and edge functionalities can help in quality of experience. Okay. So these are the different objective metrics, right? So buffering time, stall ratio, stall rate, right? Quality of video file, bitrate switching. Right? Bitrate switching is also very annoying to us, right? Sometimes your video becomes poor, sometimes it becomes bad, sometimes it becomes very poor, right? So this is called bitrate switching, right? That means the quality is getting switched every now and then, right? So that is called bitrate switching. User engagement, right? User engagement is also very important factor, right? So let's say you're watching some video, you don't like the video because your video is getting stuck. You immediately switch to another video, right? So that means you are not watching a complete video because your quality is not very good. You are frequently switching between videos. Right? So that's called user engagement. So these are the different objective metrics. That means there is some mathematical formula to measure the quality of experience. Right? And then you have some subjective metrics also. This is called mean opinion score, and that is done through surveys. Right? That means the network service providers, they take regular feedbacks from the customers and then decide on the mean opinion score, right? Rating between 1 to 5. So this is actually one of our works. I'll just quickly go through it. So here, this paper was published in 2020 in WCNC. So here we had proposed one model for determining the QoE based on the number of layers, right? So basically any scalable video is based on the number of layers, right? For example, if I say, so base layer is basically the minimal layer which you must have, which is basically called the I layer. And then above it, there is the predictive layer, P layer, and then the B layer. Right? So there are different kinds of layers. And as we keep on adding the layers to the video, your video quality gets better. For example, you can say that, let's say if your video has 5 layers, you can say layer 1 is basically, let's say it's a 360p video. You add one more layer, your video becomes 480p video. You add one more layer, it becomes a 720p video. You add one more layer, it becomes 1080p. So as you keep on adding layers, right, your video quality gets improved, right? So here we have provided a QoE model. So for example, so this is a simple formula, and we must remember that I cannot directly go to layer 2 without getting layer 1, right? So I must have layer 1 and then I must have layer 2, right? Because I cannot decode layer 2 without having layer 1. Similarly, I cannot decode layer 3 without getting layer 2, right? So here we proposed this model for distortion of a GOP, right? So where GOP is basically a group of pictures. So you see, we have a video. The video is divided into different segments. For example, it may be 2 seconds, it may be 3 seconds, it may be 1 second, right? So each video is divided into segments, and each segment is basically group of frames. So video is nothing but it's a group of pictures, right? So GOP is basically a group of pictures, right? So that means we have multiple pictures that is taken together as a video, right? So for example, if I say my video is 30 frames per second, it means that you will have 30 such pictures in 1 second, right? So suppose if a video has 5 layers and if we have only 3 layers, then basically the distortion of the GOP will be 5 minus this 3, assuming that your previous all layers have been received, right? So it's a 2, right? So the more it is towards your maximum number of layers, the more better your video is, the less distorted your video is. And the more the value is towards 0, the more distorted your video is, and of course it is of the poor quality. Okay. So there are many more things, I think. So then we have intelligent caching at the edge. And so there are a few more works which we have been doing. For example, caching in devices, device-to-device streaming, right? So there are a number of things. So in a recent paper in Globecom, we have shown that we have designed a caching policy to improve the quality of experience for streaming of media, video services. Okay, so we can go on this, and then we have intelligent bitrate adaptation. That is how to adapt the bitrates of the videos that we are downloading from the base stations, right? So there are several challenges like getting the buffer state, right? What quality of segments should we download next? Should we download a 720p video? Should we download a 1080p video, right? So all these different things determined based on the channel state, right? So there are many more things, but I guess I'll skip this part. So then we have also one more paper is there where we have done, power adaptation, right? Where we had adjusted the transmitter power of the D2D devices for some sections of the video. You see any video, for example, let's say talk about the surveillance video, right? So just now I was talking about a car violating this traffic rule, right? So such kind of events will not always occur, right? It's a very rare occurrence, right? Maybe once in one day, maybe 24 hours, even that is high. So let's say, so the question is when to process the video at the edge and when to process the video at the cloud, right? So whenever an event occurs and it has to be detected immediately, only when we process at the edge and transmit it to the vehicle. Otherwise, we process it at the backend server. Right? Again, the question comes how to detect an event, right? How to detect that an event has happened and we need to process it at the edge. Right? So all these things, all these factors have come into the play. Okay, so I guess I'll stop here for some questions. So I'll skip all these things. There are many more open issues, right? Like how to acquire the individual application requirements, how to support the traffic management, end-to-end traffic management, what measures are needed for taking smarter decisions, effective management of resources. Then there will be heterogeneity of edge devices. Some edge devices may be very powerful, some edge devices may not be powerful. Then there is collaboration, there can be collaboration of edge devices, right? Cluster of edge devices. So multiple edge devices can work together to do some collaborative processing, right? So all these things come into play. Then there is user context, right? Determining the context. It can be semantic context, right? Then there is security, privacy, trust that comes into play. So I'll stop here, and if users has any questions, I'll take. Yes, please. Please.
Suppose there is one access point
and
one device is connected. My mobile is connected with that access point.
Yes.
Now, using the edge intelligence, any device is connected with another mobile which is connected with my device, my mobile. So, is there any kind of, in case of load, is there any kind of effect over the access point?
So, if the mobile device is getting service from your phone, directly from your phone, then there will be absolute, because the Wi-Fi is oblivious to the service you are giving to any other device. Okay, so there will be effectively no additional load that will be there on the Wi-Fi, because let's say that you are watching a video, right? So whenever you are watching a video, that video is temporarily cached in your device, and you are transmitting that cached data to the other device. Right? So effectively, there is no load on the Wi-Fi.
Now, sir, the next question is: suppose the two devices are directly connected with the same access point.
Yeah.
And both the devices getting similar kind of quality, picture quality or video quality. Now, so in case of using the edge intelligence, while my device is connected with the computer, connected already existing, connected with the access point. So in the both cases, we will get similar kind of quality.
I didn't get your second question.
So one access point is there.
Right.
So initially, two mobile devices.
Two devices are connected to the same access point.
They getting similar kind of picture quality
or
video quality.
Okay.
Now, second device.
Another device, third device.
Third device is connected with one existing mobile.
Right.
That is not with the access point.
Not with the access point. Okay.
So the similar kind of quality will be accessed.
Yes. So as I was saying, if any device is connected with any mobile device, right? So that is irrespective of the service those mobile devices are getting from the Wi-Fi. So there will be no additional load on the Wi-Fi. Okay, because let's say I'm connecting my computer to this laptop, and this laptop is connected to the Wi-Fi, right? And there will be other devices which are connected to the Wi-Fi. Right. So the number of devices that are getting service from the Wi-Fi will remain fixed. Right. So I can connect n number of devices through the hotspot. Right. So that will be independent of it, because the service will be exclusively restricted to this local network only. Okay, but if this, I am watching a video which I am using this as a proxy, right, or as a router, not as an edge device, as a router, then there will be an additional load if I'm using this laptop as a router or as a proxy. If not, if I'm getting the service only from this device, because I'm getting the service from the local storage of this device, it has nothing to do with whether this is connected to the Wi-Fi or not. Okay.
Is there any parameter that we can measure the tools or parameter that we can measure how intelligent the edge device is being?
So are you talking about how much intelligent it
How much
is?
intelligence? It can be any kind of algorithm that we are using.
So basically, we generally consider how intelligent means. Generally, we look at we basically compare just like any AI model. We compare with the ground truth.
Any prediction algorithm that we are using.
Yes.
That one thing we can do, we can compare the different algorithms. Is there any tool or parameter through which we can measure that how intelligent it is behaving?
Yeah.
Like different indexing tool we use to do in case of that happy objective some like a program. Is there any parameter to measure this kind of?
No, so parameter basically, if I want to measure, basically, if you, I'm not sure, are you talking about the accuracy of the intelligent models? That means how near it is to the ground truth?
How better it is?
Yeah, so how near it is to the ground truth? Of course, any AI models will give that, right? How much false positive, false negatives, right? So all these things we measure, right? There is a we, do a confidence metrics and all these things. We have this kind of tools to do it. Right? So how near it is to that's what, because any AI model we develop, of course, has to cater to what requirement we are doing. Whether we are going to detect a cow, we are going to detect a dog, or we are going to detect a car violating a traffic signal, whatever it is, right? So suppose you are deploying a model which is able to detect a cow for a scenario you are going to detect a vehicle, of course, that will not be correct, right? So the model should be designed the purpose for which, the objective which you are using, which you are going to use it. So any model, you have to first compare with the ground truth, right? And then if you want to test how good it is performing in real life, then you have to do some kind of real life testing on that. That means you have to collect data, do some surveillance, and then do it. So basically, it's just like for any AI model, we test the accuracy. That means we compare with the ground truth.
I have a query. All the time, you cannot use the accuracy measure because in some cases the data may be unavailable.
Not available. Yes.
That case, how we determine number of clusters. Actually, maybe someone will take the image, and then it may be 2 clusters, it may be 3 clusters. Like that is, if I take the image of this room, so there are so many clusters will be created. What will be the optimum number of clusters that will be assessed in the model?
I'm not sure if I'm getting a question.
I'm talking about the clusters, that is, we clusters objects based on some similarity or dissimilarity.
Right. I mean, cluster you're talking about this people who are sitting together.
Objects of similar characters.
Okay.
So if you take the images of this room, say, so there will be clusters of chairs and clusters of books, clusters of people and there will be a number of clusters. In that sometimes it may be difficult to determine the number of clusters for the images that is taken. That's the challenge actually.
Right.
But in this case, only image is having no ground to means that is images have no levels.
Right. You're talking about unlabeled images. Right. Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Butterball, for your wonderful speech. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Arindam Biswas. Dr. Arindam Biswas received his MTech degree in radio physics and electronics from the University of Calcutta in 2010, followed by his PhD in NIT Durgapur in 2013. He has worked as a postdoctoral researcher in Busan National University, South Korea, with prestigious PK21 plus fellowship, Republic of Korea. Dr. Biswas has received DST JSPS Innovation Fellow at RIE, Japan. After that, he has he was specially appointed as the associate professor at the Research Institute of Electronics, Japan. He has selected Institute of Engineers India Young Engineers Award in 2019-20. He also received the KNE Best Researchers Award in 2021 and KNE Best Faculty Award in 2022. He also awarded by many best papers in different international conferences. Presently, Dr. Biswas is working as an associate professor in the School of Mines and Metallurgy in KNE, West Bengal, where he has actively engaged in teaching, research, administration, and also associated in actual faculty of Taylor University, Malaysia. He has 75 technical papers in different journals and 47 conference proceedings. He also authored 8 books and edited 24 volumes and 10 books chapters with international review. Dr. Biswas received research grants from different funding agencies, namely SAR, DST, JSPS, UGC, and industrial consultancies from ECF. He has also received the International Research Grant from the Center of Biomedical Engineering, Tokyo Medical and Dental University in association with RIE, Japan. For 4 consecutive years, 2019 to 2023, he is serving as adjunct professor Taylor University, Malaysia since February 2024. Dr. Biswas has produced 8 PhD students till date, and one has submitted their thesis for PhD. He has organized and chaired different international conferences in India and abroad. He is life member of Institute of Engineers, MGMI, and regular fellow of Optical Society of India, as well as he is the member of IEEE. Now I'd like to welcome Dr. Biswas for his speech.
এটা ওই স্যার ওটা আছে স্যার ওটা আছে ও ঠিক আছে Thank you, Vishika, for nice introduction. And I would like to thank the organizers, especially Shomit sir, to invite me over here. Actually, I am not new here. I am already associated as a associate professor of Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at Asansol Engineering College before my joining to Kazi Nazrul University. And I spent my golden period under the leadership of Shomit sir at EC department. Of that period, and today I will talk in the communication national conference on communication, computing, and IoT. So conference, in my keynote address, I would like to talk about the communications then how that communication part is associated with the some machine learning algorithm. So now in communications, we have to talk about the 6. Now we are looking for the 6G communications. And main purpose of the 6G communications, in case of 6G communication, is working on the terahertz region. So for 6G communication, we have to develop the terahertz solid state source, and for optimizing the terahertz source, solid state source, we are design the artificial neural network as performance prediction. In my today's my presentation, there is 2 parts. Number 1 part is development of the terahertz solid state source, and second part is the artificial neural network based performance prediction. So first we will discuss about the development of terahertz solid state source, and after discussion of the terahertz solid state source, in second part we will discuss about the development of artificial neural network based model for performance prediction of terahertz solid state source. So this is a part 1 of my lecture, that is the development of terahertz solid state source, which is useful for the 6G communication. Now that terahertz frequency is explored in between the radio wave electrical signals and photonic nanotechnology, and that this terahertz gap is important between the 100 gigahertz to 10 terahertz, and in case of wavelength 3 millimeter to 30 micrometer wavelength. And the unexplored regions in this are the various applications of this terahertz gap. For this various applications, the imaging, analysis, high capacity short distance communication, compact and coherent source is a key device, and it is for high distance, high capacity short distance communications, because the long distance communication with high frequency have some environmental effect. So till now it is restricted for the short distance communication. Now the application of the terahertz wave, I already told that it has a high capacity short distance wireless communications. The data rate 100 gigabit per second, and carrier frequency 0.1 to 1 terahertz. And it is also used for the disaster discovery, digital cinema discovery system, remote broadcasting, telemedicine, terahertz interchange communications. Those are the possible applications of the terahertz wireless communication. Now, terahertz introduction to terahertz photonics. Terahertz means you just saw this diagram, evaluation of terahertz technology. That is plotted the year versus the technologies, and it is plotted from the 1980s to beyond. And in 1980s, first terahertz detector was detected, and then now in 2012 beyond, the terahertz online systems are there. So this is the evaluation, and you just notice that the terahertz market will reach around 350 million in 2022. Okay, this slide is quite before, made in quite before. Now the terahertz market is near about 350 billion in 2022. Now terahertz imaging, the non-destructive imaging. You notice that there is the first diagram. Notice in the first diagram, the hidden weapons within the and drugs clearly distinguishable by the terahertz imaging. It is so the drugs, MDMA, aspirins, methamphetamine, those are the popular drugs in Japan. Within the envelope, those popular drugs in also clearly visible. And the terahertz imaging is so powerful. You can non-destructive terahertz imaging. You can aim the Jupiter's moons from the Earth using the terahertz imaging. And in just another diagram that is taken from the T5000 terahertz camera that can see the clocks and without X-ray. So this is a non-destructive type of imaging. With the help of the terahertz imaging, we can clearly be visible the hidden weapons, drugs, and we can also aiming the moon and Jupiter's from the Earth. You saw some biomedical imaging applications of the terahertz. You just show the Turkish leg bones. You can clearly distinguish the photovisibles and the terahertz image. You can clearly distinguish the 2 pictures. And the red paper within the stream is always dangerous to the body. You can also find the red paper in the stream with the terahertz imaging. And some biomedical images also taken. That's from terahertz imaging. So the headache and sinus, the stress in the liver, that can be clearly detected by the terahertz imaging. No X-ray is required, and this is the non-destructive techniques. Now, if we plotted the number of documents versus year, you just notice that the number of document versus year is is exponentially increased. So, research on terahertz communications and terahertz technology is rapidly increased day by day. Now, if we talking about the terahertz apparatus, this is nothing but a four part. One is source that emits the terahertz frequency, then component process the terahertz frequency, then detector detect that terahertz the frequency, then several applications. There are applications was already discussed in we have already discussed some applications previous slides. Now you notice that some advantage and limitations of the terahertz imaging. What are the advantages? This is the non-ionizing radiations, biological molecules characteristic energies lies in the terahertz region, non-destructive testings and contact-free imaging, greater spatial resolution, terahertz radiation to penetrate, not and it that fills the gap between the medical imaging modalities, can perform the spectroscopy. That there is a several advantages of the terahertz imaging, but whereas some several disadvantages and drawbacks is also there. You just notice the drawbacks are it cannot penetrate the human body due to the high water power, and drawbacks is terahertz source, measuring speed and canning times, bulky system, signal to noise ratio, and some terahertz sources cannot used to be a room temperature. Those are the several drawbacks and limitations of the terahertz imaging. You just notice one drawback is terahertz sources. Now from this is the motivations of the research that we still now there is no good terahertz source. So we have to develop and we have to develop some good terahertz source. These drawbacks may be the motivations for the researcher to develop a good terahertz source. Now we have to, in previous slides, we have seen some terahertz applications, the importance of the field, and also some disadvantages. And we have noticed that one of the major disadvantages is we have no good terahertz source. So we have to develop some good terahertz source. And for that purpose, at first we have to find what are the terahertz source already available in the market. You have seen that there is several terahertz source. So source HBT is there, HMT is there, CMOS is there, RTD regional tunneling diode is there, IMPACT is there, tunnel TET is there, and QCL is there. From this diagram, you can show which one the highest frequency. Frequency is highest in terms of QCL, but in terms of power, IMPACT diode is the best. So if we can increase the operating frequency of the IMPACT diode, the in terms of frequency as well as IMPACT in terms of power, IMPACT will be the best terahertz source available in the market. So this is our motivation. We are working to increase the operating frequency range of the IMPACT diode. So our question is how the operating frequency of the range of the IMPACT diode will be increased. Our answer is possible solution will be the gallium nitride IMPACT oscillator. If we will see in the later on slides, if IMPACT diode can be fabricated by the gallium nitride, so that will give the terahertz frequency range. So what is IMPACT? Some introductions who are new in the field. So I am introducing the IMPACT diode. IMPACT nothing but a IMPACT ablative transit diode. Its name tells its working principle. Is any type of oscillation 180 degree phase shift is required. And how this 180 degree phase shift has come? 180 degree phase shift has come from this delays. And there is a two type of delay. One is ablative transit time delay, and another is delay due to the dip tau A and tau T. And this tau, if we are added this tau and tau T, that will give us the 180 degree phase shift. And that is and the device will be oscillated. And the most powerful solid state source of microwave and millimeter waves, and is the simplest IMPACT diode in the PN junction. And in case of ablative breakdown phenomena, always IMPACT diode has to be biased in the reverse bias condition. And the mechanical tuning is there. We have to embed the cavity generates to resonate, and possible. And there is several materials, some narrow bandgap material as well as wide bandgap materials are there to fabricate the IMPACT diode. Now we have already discussed that there is some narrow bandgap materials, the gallium, silicon, gallium arsenide, indium phosphides are used for fabricated the impact diode, and such as some wide bandgap materials also there. What the gallium nitride silicon carbide can be fabricated for high frequency operations of the impact diode. Now the basic structure of ideal doping and electric the impact diode. First impact operation shows in the red diode. If those diodes are connected in the reverse bias conditions, that are P plus N and N minus N plus, and they are on the SDS single dip region type impact diode, then double dip region type impact diode. In double dip region impact diode, the structure is N plus N and P plus. If the diode is connected in the reverse bias conditions, what happened? That NP junctions will give the high abundancy of the carrier due to the reverse breakdown phenomenon, and that those abundance of electron and holes attracted towards the junction, they were moving towards the N plus and P plus region, and then a tau T will become, and the depth of this electron and holes will also gives the transit time delay. So this abundance time delay and transit time delay keep us together the give us together the 180 phase shift, which is important for the high microwave and high frequency operations of the any kind of solid state source. Now we are operating in the frequency range 10 to the power 12. As the frequency range is so high, so it has several limitations to realize the frequency range. Number one is the abundancy breakdown phenomena. Time to band tunneling is one kind of limitations. If band to band tunneling is there, then what happened? If band to band tunneling is there, then number of electron and whole process to the barriers can be accountable, and that will affect the high frequency operations of the impact diode. And another limitations we will discuss in later on slides, that carrier interactions. If carrier interaction is there, the number of holes is interacted with the number of electrons. If electrons and holes are recombined, then recombination is there. If recombination is there, then what will be happen? If recombination is there, then number of electrons and holes will be decreased, and that will also affect the tau A, because transient delay due to the abundance breakdown phenomena, as well as tau T delay due to the transit time. So we have used two types of simulation: DC simulation and small signal simulations based on the Women Blues approaches. Now, if the gap between the tau A and tau T, if the gap between the tau A and tau T is high, so we can say that the tau A is the delay due to the abundance breakdown phenomena, tau T is the delay due to the transit time phenomena. If the gap between the tau A and tau T will be high, we can say that the device can be work in the high frequency range. You show for tau A and tau T for the silicon, gallium nitride and narrowband gap material, gap is low, whereas gap is high for what that gallium nitride, silicon carbide, wide bandgap material. So from these two diagrams, we can clearly conclude that the high frequency impact diode fabricated with gallium nitride or silicon carbide can be worked in the high frequency range in terahertz. Now, any type of simulation programs must be matches with the experimental result. Till now, the gallium nitride impact oscillator is not available in the market. So we have matches our result with silicon DDR impact diode, and you can see that our simulation result with the experimental silicon DDR impact diodes clearly matches. Now we have already said that band-to-band tunneling can affect the high frequency operations of the impact diode. So we have calculated the GTN and the GTN and you just saw the lateral slides. That dotted line represent the tunneling generation rate, whereas the solid line represent the abundance generation rate. In high frequency, after 260 gigahertz, the high tunneling generation rates dominates the abundance generation rate, and it will affect the high frequency operations of the impact diode. And effect of tunneling also, you just see in the diagram, there is dotted line is the with the considering the tunneling generation rate, and the solid line considered the considering the average generation rate. For the red line for the water gallium nitride, if using the water gallium nitride, it just shows that always the average generation always dominates the tunneling generation rate. So it will not affect the high frequency operations of the impact diode. Now this is simulation proposal of gallium nitride impact. It was proposed by Ponda in 2021, the 3.8 watt gallium power and 140 gigahertz frequency. Now we are proposing the 2.1 milliwatt power with 5 terahertz frequency, even if we consider the tunneling generation rate as well as the parasitic series resistance. The effect of the parasitic series resistance also we will discuss in later on slides. Now another high frequency limitation is inter-carrier interactions. I already told, if the electron in abundance vector phenomena, if electrons will interact with the hole, then recombinations will happen. If recombinations will happen, then what happen? The number of free electrons and holes will decrease. If number of electrons and holes will decrease, that affect the tau A as well as the tau T. Now these variations of breakdown phenomena, you can clearly show the variation of breakdown voltage of the diodes with operating frequency. Bar graph showing the percent of change between in breakdown voltage and diode operating in different frequency obtained in present simulation with respect to the earlier simulations, and modifications clearly shows over here. Same as we are plotted for average zone voltage drop. Then we have plotted the variation of avalanche zone width, and you can clearly show the bar graph clearly show the difference frequency obtained in present simulation with respect to the earlier simulations, and comparison with the terahertz gallium nitride impact oscillator with terahertz RTD oscillators. We show that in case of RTD, we are getting the output power in the range of microwatt. In case of whereas in case of our proposed model, we are getting the output in case of milliwatt. And another drawbacks and high frequency performance limitations is parasitic series resistance, and it is generate the positive resistance due to the unswept undepleted region of the device. So it's contributed the positive series resistance of the device, and this series resistance originates not only the unswept epithelial layer, also the substrate of the contact layer also. That parasitic series resistance also affect the high frequency operations of the impact diode. We are re-examining the structures. There is a realistic P plus N plus P plus impurity concentration based on the emulsivity and fabrication technique. We have considered the series resistance, skin depth, etc. is taken into consideration. Evaluation around the 1 terahertz frequency. We have used the simulation principle DC simulations. That DC simulations are nothing but a deep diffusion models, and carrier generation and impact ionization and tunneling considered. And we have considered also non-sinusoidal drive under the constant current I0, and because in non-impractical cases the inputs purely sinusoidal or all type is not possible, and that the diagram also P plus P N plus, and we have taken the N plus buffer region and ASP gallium nitride substrate. After that we have fabricated using the ASP N type gallium nitride substrate. And we just notice the simulations of this our result that is voltage is out of phase. So that structure we have to re-examine that structure with oscillator not. So our simulation gives that structure will oscillate because the voltage is out of phase. We have clearly shown from this diagram. Now this is a seed device structure. So this is our proposed device structure with the packaged diode structure. Now issues of realizing several issues in realizing of this high frequency impact diode design, the planar structure indicated the antenna, proper design matching circuits, fabrications, high quality pin junction which show the intrinsic background phenomena, measurements. Those are the those all are the issues for designing the high frequency operations of the impact. Now, part 2 is the accelerated predictions of the Taylor's performance matrix in gallium nitride impact sources via artificial neural network. So, we are using the artificial neural network to performance predictions of the impact diode operations, impact diode, and we are used the artificial neural network because this is a supervised learning. The data we will generate the data using some equations. We based on some algorithms, and generated data is known to us as the data is read. So we have used the supervised learning to predict the Taylor's performance of gallium nitride impact matrices. The objective of this machine learning based studies, number 1 is the artificial neural network based regression model to characterize the impact source in the Taylor's frequency region, and number 2 a comprehensive data set derived from the self-consistent deep diffusion model. We have derived the data set from our previous simulations, and that simulation based on the quantum deep diffusion model, and from that we have derived the data set, and with that data set we are using the artificial neural network based regression model to characterize the impact sources in terahertz frequency range. And with this data set preparations, you can show that clearly the data, how we prepare the data set. The data set is prepared based on the data set is prepared based on the self-driven deep diffusion model. We have started, and we have input frequency. We have taken the different input frequency design in the input. Then we have taken the input materials parameter. It has several materials parameter. Then input the structural parameters. In case of impact, there is several structure. How width is there, or the concentration gradient, the several structure parameter, doping parameter, materials parameters, the initial bias, which will be the initial bias we will take. That initial bias also we have to calculate. That we have to access the DC. Then we are executing the DC simulation. If the DC simulation is coverage, all the criteria, then it is DC simulation is stored in the output, and it will goes to the continue the ANN modeling, artificial neural network based modeling. If it does not come, this come to the no, and then this J0 is also added to the some delta part. Then also it is executed to the DC simulation. So this DC data set prepared based on the already our model, that deep diffusion model of the gallium nitride impact diode. Now, design of the artificial neural networks, that ANN typically comprise the input layers, hidden layers, and output layers. Each of the layer contains of the multiple neuron, and here Ij is the output parameters. That is the function of the activated function delta, and the bias function Bij, and there's some weightage Wij, and for different K1 to 10, and it has a Xij is the inputs, and this is the design of the artificial neural network for this study. So we have designed this artificial neural network. That architecture of artificial neural network used for estimating the DC large signal simulation of a single deep region gallium nitride impact diodes. If that's shown, there are several ANN architecture there. There is ANN 1 to 8, and there are some doping profiles, some flat doping profiles is there, and some abrupt doping profiles also there. That is in the flat doping profiles, there is several flat doping profile, and there is several high-low abrupt doping profiles is there. So there is some numbers of input layers. There is a 4 hidden layers, and number of output layers is 5. The output layers is the predicted output layers, and this is the artificial neural network based structure for study the DC simulation, loss purposes, as well as SDR gallium nitride impact diodes. Now we have to train that model. We have already designed. At first, we have generated the data set. We have prepared the data set. Then we have designed the artificial neural network based model. Now, after designing the artificial neural network based model, we have to train and validate our ANN model. So there is two algorithms we are showing here. One is for training and validation of this ANN model, and another is testing of the NN model. We have started that selection between the high and low diode structure. If the diode structure is flat, then one type of training data is there. If no, then another type of training data is there. Then initiate the NN design, then initiate the NN model, then training, then model evaluation, then calculated the mean square error. We have to calculate the mean square error, then to find out the accuracy, and then freeze the NN model, and then modify the NN model. So this is the training and validation algorithm of the NN structure. Now the final testing. For final testing, we have to select between the flat and high-low diode structure. Is the flat structure, no structure, two type of input is there. Then initiate the material parameters, input the design parameter for testing the data models. We have to given the known data, label data to design the model. Then we have the modulation, input the modulation index, initiate the frequency, F, and associated the increment. Then access DC and LS simulation using that model, and I already told. And after that, ultimately, that model is tested. And after testing the model, we have to see the how the MAC there mean square error. So we have to also find the mean square error for different type of the different epochs. We have near about 500 epochs are there. We have taken the near about 500 epochs, and we have calculated based on the training loss and validation loss. You see for 2A, B, C, D, C, 3 diagram, if the number of neurons is increased, A1 to AN4, AN1 to AN4, if number of neurons is increased, then the testing loss and validation loss is decreases, and the MAC will be mean square error is also decreases. And this is and for the second case is also for E to A is also same case is there. First one for flat type of doping, and second was for the abrupt doping. That if the training and training losses and validation decrease, if number of neuron increases from 1 to 4 or 5 to 8. Now ANN models validate using the experimental data. You have to find out our ANN model is working good or not. So after testing that, our ANN models is validated with the experimental data. You saw there's the ANN 8 and ANN 4. Those two data are predicted from the data set is generated from the SCQDD deep division models, and you will show these blue and red symbols that are the experimental data by researcher Kawasaki et al. And our and that red dotted line is for the ANN 8 and blue dotted line for the ANN 4, and both are clearly matched with the experimental result. And we also evaluate the time complexity for our ANN artificial neural network based model. And for that, you just see that the time complexity also decreases when we are using the ANN 4 and ANN 8 rather than conventional deep diffusion model. And summary, for practical terahertz imaging, room temperature solicited high power sources are anticipated. Gallium nitride impact diode can be generated near about 250 milliwatt power, 1 terahertz, even realistic capacitive series resistance, and tunneling phenomena, as well as the carrier interaction. For realization of the device, it should be designed, fabrication measurement should be taken care of, and these parameters present the comprehensive explore to use the machine learning, especially artificial neural network. We have used the artificial neural network because the data is modeled, labeled. We have generated data ourselves, so that's why we are using the supervised learning. We are using the supervised artificial neural networks, supervised learning type of machine learning. And then the proposed ANN approach significantly reduces the computational time. I have already showed that the computational time is much lesser than conventional type simulations based on the deep diffusion model, and the mean square error are absorbed to be order of 10 to the power -4 and 10 to the power -6. That is demonstrating the model's accuracy, high model's accuracy. The error is less. it is near about -4 or -6. Then experimental validation shows the strong agreement in terms of background voltage, and we also validate our machine learning based model with the experimental results, and that is clearly matches. So it's demonstrated the high frequency operations of our supporting the potential masses of machine learning, streamlined to the design and optimizing the high frequency semiconductor device. Now we have to acknowledge our funding agency to carry out our this type of research problem, research progress. We have a fund to carry out the research program from the Science and Engineering Research Board, Government of India. I was started my work on terahertz high frequency operations during my associate, specially appointed associate professorship in Shizuoka University, Japan. We have another fund to continue our research from Indo-Japan Cooperative Research Project with RI Research Institute of Biomedical Engineering, Tokyo Medical and Dental University, Japan. So those funds are associated with our this project. So this is so today's lecture we have discussed about what was the terahertz source and how this terahertz source is predicted or optimized using the artificial neural based network. Terahertz imaging hazard for human beings. No, this is non-destructive technique. Imaging not hazard, but terahertz communication is some environmental effect. That's why still now 6G is restricted in Japan. For human body, it is rather non-destructive than X-ray. X-ray is more dangerous for the body.
X-ray is having more energy than terahertz. Japan has recently launched one connection with 402 terabyte Mbps. So is that any way connected with terahertz?
If we are going beyond the 5G, then we have to go to the frequency range about the 10 to the 12 terahertz.
Okay, that concludes Professor Vishwas sir's presentation. That actually concludes the opening session of the day. We will head for the lunch now, and after the lunch break, the paper presentations will continue along with Barnwell sir's presentation. Professor Barnwell from CMERI will be joining us very soon. So it's for the time being, it's lunchtime. We can come back after the lunch. Thank you, all of you. Yeah. Who wants to